Streets of Rage series has been around since '91. It's a beat 'em up series that a lot of people know about, especially like hardcore gamers. They know about the Streets of Rage series, and the most popular installment came out back in 2020, which was over a year ago. It's probably the most successful installment in the entire series. I believe it reached over 2.5 million copies in sales, and it's the most popular game in the series, up there along with Streets of Rage 2, which came out in 1992. And this is a game that was developed by Dotemu, Lizard Cube, Guard Crush Games, and it's a game that is going to be talked about years from now, probably 10 or 20 years from now, to the same extent that Streets of Rage 2 was talked about. But the real reason why this game was so successful is because it was many years in the making, at least 20 years in the making, because Streets of Rage 3 came out back in I believe it came out in 1994, and that game was not as good as Streets of Rage 2, even though the gameplay was better. The soundtrack was kind of a letdown, or it was just considered something different because it's not used to what people were seeing. But I feel that the music in Streets of Rage 4 was excellent. The gameplay was excellent. The art design was awesome. There were so many things in Streets of Rage 4 that a lot of people liked. It was something that appealed to both contemporary gamers and longtime fans of the Streets of Rage series, especially those who grew up during the 16-bit era of gaming. Now, the question is whether or not there'll be a Streets of Rage 5 in the future, and honestly, I think it's way too soon to tell because Streets of Rage 4 is still considered to be new because it's been out for like over a year now, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Streets of Rage 5 later down the line. I don't know if it's going to happen this decade or next decade, and part of the reason why Streets of Rage 4 was so popular is because it was over 20 years in the making, and it was a game that a lot of people never thought was going to happen, but it did happen, and that's the reason why a lot of people bought it, because they wanted to see how it played and whether or not the series lost a step. As a matter of fact, the series improved dramatically beyond many people's expectations, and I think that's something that this particular installment is going to be known for. And I'm not sure whether or not .mu or any other developer can probably top Streets of Rage 4 in terms of quality, commercial success, and overall replay value, but it'd be interesting if we do get a Streets of Rage 5 in the future. I don't expect it to happen anytime in the near future, but if the Streets of Rage series ended with Streets of Rage 4, I think it would end on a very positive note, especially considering the fact that this game was anything but a letdown. In fact, it's the most successful installment in the entire series, even more popular than Streets of Rage 2 from 1992. So, like Streets of Rage 4 is definitely one of the better beat 'em up games to have emerged from the past 20 years. As far as whether or not it's the greatest beat 'em up game of all time, I don't know if I'd go that far. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have their doubts, and they have their arguments on what's the greatest beat 'em up game of all time. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people, especially casual gamers, I'd probably put Streets of Rage 4 in their top 10, especially considering the fact that it's one of the most commercially successful beat 'em up games of all time.